friends, Amanda here. Welcome back to Handmade Not Hallmark. Today I've got another color catalog challenge for you all. I love how this simple card turned out. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. I'm going to go into my random number generator here on my tablet and generate a random number from 1 to 500, and I got 289 this time. So I know that that is going to be in the color catalog volume number 2. Going to scroll down through here, this large PDF. I will have a link to the color catalog and Sarah Renee Clark's website if you guys are interested, in my description here at the bottom of the video. And here we are. It's kind of funny that we got a jellyfish image again like we did in the last one, but the colors are a little bit different, and I feel like these ones will work really well with the idea that I came up with. I really wanted to use this butterfly stencil, and this was the perfect color catalog or color palette, excuse me, to use. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the card. So I have a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock here cut down to an A2 sized card base, and I used some pixie spray on the back of this stencil ahead of time just to make sure that all of those little pieces stayed down really well. And I've also got my waffle flower stencil mat here to help me hold the paper while I do my ink blending. I've got a nice variety of colors here today. I'm going to be using my regular Distress inks today instead of my Distress oxides. I love my Distress oxides, but I don't have as many colors as I do with the regular Distress inks, and I haven't used them for quite a while, so I thought it would be nice to bring those back out. Going to put down some post-it tape on the open areas of my card panel here. I don't want to get any ink other than where my stencil is. And I'm going in with a really light hand here. I wanted to start out light and build the color up if I needed to. And I loved this color combination. It turned out really pretty. I have all of the colors that I use listed down in the description below as well. And I really wanted it to be a really pretty gradient, and I wanted to use all of those colors just in the stencil. I didn't want to have color anywhere else. I wanted this to be the main focus of the card today, and I felt like this card is kind of clean and simple. There isn't a whole lot else going on other than the imagery on the stencil and the greeting. That's it, as well as the glitter that I add a little bit later. The glitter idea kind of came to me after I had all of this done and the card laid out. I felt like it needed something else, something sparkly. I didn't want to add sequins or any gems or anything along those lines because I didn't really have a whole lot that would match with these colors from the color palette. So I felt like using glitter would be a great option. Again, just continuing across my panel, I wanted to go in a nice kind of diagonal pattern so that I could get all of the colors in here. And again, I'm just going back and forth, building up and layering that color until I get a nice smooth blend. That's why I really like using the Bristol smooth cardstock. It is my favorite to blend on top of. Everything goes on it like butter, but you do have to give it a nice opportunity to dry because that ink doesn't soak into the paper right away. It just kind of sets on top of it, and you do have to give it that opportunity to dry. You could use a heat tool to speed it along. I sometimes do, depending on how much time I have to make a card, but this time I did leave it sit to dry until it was completely dry because I wanted to add the glitter paste afterwards. So once I have all of my ink blending done, you can see how beautiful that heart looks. I just love this color palette and those colors. I think I'm going to use them again on another card, maybe not with a stencil, but I just loved how this looked and I thought it was super pretty. Gonna get my station cleaned up here, get all of my inks cleaned off and my palette. And I have these Lawn Fawn stitched hearts. I thought it would be really pretty if I could find a heart that would match around the outside of this. Unfortunately, they didn't fit. They weren't the right shape, but I felt like adding a couple of hearts just to kind of fill in some empty space and add some interest into the card as well. But I didn't want to die cut it down into the cardstock. I wanted just to emboss it. So I pulled out my Spellbinder's Platinum 6 machine here, and I'm going to emboss the stitched hearts into the cardstock. So I'm going to take the sandwich here that is provided, or the plates. So I've got the embossing mat and the embossing plate, and I'm just going to run it through my machine. And you'll see here that my ink was still a little bit wet and it transferred onto my embossing mat. I wasn't too concerned about it because it'll wipe just right off, no problems whatsoever. And I loved using this technique in a Valentine's card that I did a while back, and I just had to use them again. Next, I'm going to get my greeting stamped down here. I'm going to be using a greeting from the Honeybee Get Well Soon sentiment set. I love these sentiments. There's so many nice ones in here. Maybe not so much, you know, a get well, but just thinking of you. And that's the one I went with today. A nice, just simple card letting somebody know that you're in their thoughts. I'm going to heat emboss this on some black cardstock. I felt like the black would be nice, just to get it to stand out a bit, a nice contrast to all of those nice colors. And then I'm also going to mat the entire card on some black cardstock as well, just to pull the black back in and really frame it up, and I think it makes the colors pop really, really nicely. I'm going to be using some Brutus Monroe Alabaster White embossing powder, and I also used some clear ink from Simon for my embossing ink. Once I get that all down, I'm going to hit it with my heat gun, and I'm going to die cut it with the matching dies that go with it. Another reason why I love these sets from Honeybee, because they have those matching dies and it just makes it so much more fun. I also cut out 3 more of the outlines for this so that I could stack it up and make some dimension. You could easily put foam tape behind it or just adhere it nice and flat, but I wanted to add just a tiny bit of dimension because this card is a 1-layer card. I wanted to have just a little bit of interest, so I did die cut 3 more of the actual, just kind of the outline of the greeting to create that dimension. So that's another fun way to add dimension, is to just die cut again several times to get that same shape and get that dimension. I'm going to get all of my supplies put away here, and this is where I decided that I wanted to add the glitter to the card. I felt like it was beautiful, just like this. You could definitely leave it like this and it would be so, so nice, but I just had to add a little bit of sparkle. And so I went and I cleaned off my stencil. I made sure it was nice and dry, and I stuck it right back on top of what I had done earlier. I wasn't worried about any of the stitching messing it up or anything like that. So I've got this Hero Arts glitter paste. I think I showed it in a haul a while back. I had a little bit of trouble getting the lid off. I need to definitely get some of that press and seal so that I can save all of these. I don't want to have anything get ruined. And I wanted to make sure that it was going to dry nice and clear, and it definitely does. This is such a beautiful glitter paste. I am really not one for glitter, like loose glitter. But this glitter paste was just perfect on this card. It didn't smudge the colors or anything like that. I didn't have to worry about it. I was a little bit concerned because it is a paste and it does have moisture to it, so I was worried that the Distress ink would react to it, but it actually didn't. It did really well. Everything stayed where it needed to do. I didn't have any transfer or anything like that. It worked out beautifully. It dried beautifully, and I love the way that it turned out. It is so sparkly and pretty. So, you know, I definitely am going to use this again. So I'm going to go ahead and get my material cleaned up here, because you do want to wash this off immediately. It will dry hard as a rock. So you want to get everything cleaned up and let this set off to the side to dry. And I just love how it just evens out those colors, makes them really soft and beautiful, and again adds that sparkle. And I think it really rounds out this card, makes it look really, really pretty. So I'm going to set this off to the side to dry, and we can get to assembly of our card. Once everything was completely dry, I took some scraps of black cardstock here, and I didn't want to use a whole sheet of black cardstock. And you can see here I had a little accident with my glue. I don't know what happened to it. It's just like super liquidy and loose, and it was really hard to work with, so I'm not sure what happened to it. If anybody has any ideas what happened to it, I tried shaking it up or anything like that, but it was still just super duper runny, and I don't know what happened. But either way, I got it to work. I think maybe I just need to start using my stuff more, guys. I know it's been a while, and I've had a lot of gaps in between my videos. I have just been in a funk. I try to come up with ideas, I get them, and then they completely just vanish. I don't know if it's just the time of year. I don't have any inspiration right now, especially with winter. I mean, we are still getting storms, we're still getting rain and snow, and it's just miserable here, so it's kind of hard to become inspired. But hopefully with the spring coming and Easter, I'll have some more inspiration for you. But I just loved this nice thin black mat around this whole card. I really think it makes everything pop and stand out. And adding that greeting, just a nice simple, greeting, I think really went well. I had thought at first to do a nice big die cut, but sticking with a simple greeting, I think just works out beautifully. And here you can see this is where I have those extra die cuts so that I can stack them all up on top of each other to create that dimension. And I went ahead and started using a different glue. I didn't want to have glue running all over with this small die cut. I don't know what's going on with my glue and my supplies. It's probably just because I haven't been doing anything and I need to get back on top of it. Sorry about the clock in the background. The clock is telling me that it is getting late and I need to go to bed. But I wanted to get this video out for you guys. I know I've had lots of gaps in between, and I've had this sitting here for a while, and I really need to get it done. So here I've got that all glued together now, and adhering it over top of that glitter paste can be a little bit tricky, but this Barely Art adhesive sticks so well on top of any type of textured back or cardstock or paste or any kind of rough material. So all I had to do was add a little bit extra glue and hold it down with my acrylic blocks and let it sit for a little while, and it adhered beautifully. Next is my new favorite obsession, are these tiny butterflies from the Flickering Butterflies die set from Simon. I am so obsessed with these butterflies, you guys. I have got another idea. It is a super ambitious one. I'm really going to try to do it with these butterflies. It's like a rainbow collage of butterflies on a card. It'll be a card that I'll have to hand deliver or secure in a bubble mailer, but I have this idea and I really hope I can get it done. Again, super ambitious and tedious, but I think it will work out. I just went in with my Wink of Stella glitter brush pen to add a little bit of shine to their wings, and I just kind of fold them a little bit to add the dimension to their wings, and adding a little bit of glue to the centers and adhering them down. And I think these add another little touch of interest and dimension to the card and adds to the butterfly effect. And I just love how it turns out. And that will finish up my card for today. I really do appreciate you guys stopping by and watching my content and coming along with me in these color catalog challenges. They are so fun to do, really get your mind going with different colors and ideas, and really helps you kind of get out of that funk. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button as well as the subscribe. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying all of my content and that I really do appreciate you coming by and spending some time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll catch up with you guys again real soon in the next video. Bye!
On screen, I've got a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos at my YouTube channel.